Hey guys, this is my music room. There's a lot of cool stuff in here, but I'm gonna hit the lights. We're gonna go check this out, which is a custom mod, aesthetically anyway, on my TSL100. Now I'll be honest, I didn't come up with this idea completely originally. I saw at least something similar on the internet, so kudos to whoever came up with it first. But if you're anything like me, the first time I saw it, you're thinking two things. One, wow, that's fucking cool. And two, why is Marshall hiding the tubes? Tubes look really cool. You know, why do you put them behind an opaque black piece of fabric? I don't know, guys. I don't have the answer to that, but with a little bit of work and a few bucks in materials, I'm gonna walk you through how to fix that. So let's talk about the lighting for a minute. I actually bought first this strip light. I'm gonna get real close. I got this off of Amazon, and it's just like a flexible strip light with an adhesive on the back. And I installed that in the amp, and you know, I put it around the edges, and the lighting was really good. I'll give it that. The lighting looked great, but the adhesive really didn't want to stick to the amp very well, and when I tried to super glue it, some of the lights stopped working. So I actually took out the strip lights and I ended up buying this. So this is what's in there now, and it's a bar light. I think it was advertised for a fish tank. Comes with this remote. You can turn it on. You can choose the color. It's got blue, green, red, pink, etc. You can turn it on like some fade. And what I'm going to end up doing, I'm recording this part before I put the bar in, obviously, but I'm just going to super glue the back. It's nice and thin here. It's 18 inches long, but it's real thin. So I'm going to just super glue that to the top of the amp. I'll give you guys a little peek inside. One thing I was a little surprised about, I didn't realize when I had first seen the pictures of somebody else doing something similar, was that the reverb tank is actually attached to the back of the front panel. And when I took the front panel off, that was a bit of a surprise. But what I ended up doing was I just mounted it to the top of the amp, the top of the head. And you can see I've got my light bar in there. I literally just super glued that to a couple of the screws that are on the reverb tank, and it fits quite nicely in that space. One other thing I did, I invested in a little bit nicer cables. The audio cables that were in the amp were pretty cheap and crappy looking, so I got a little bit nicer, but that's certainly optional. So I'm going to give you guys a close-up of the Plexi here. If you have a TSL100, this Plexi I had custom cut at 26 1/4 by 5 5/8, and it's a 1/4 inch thick. I would actually recommend going a little thicker than a 1/4 inch. If I had to do it over again, I'd go a little thicker, but a 1/4 inch will work just fine. You can see over here I've got the old front. To get the logo off, the Marshall logo, you just want to use a putty knife. It'll come right out, and it'll have little tabs that you have to cut off and sand down to get it flat, but you just take care of that, and then if you flip it over and give it a close-up, you can see I just used a little bit of super glue on the joints to glue it to the Plexi right there. Sticks nicely, works out nicely. Now here's the amp. It's open right now, and what I did is, let me get this straight here. What I did here is I just used a drill bit and drilled through at exactly the same size as these screws. I got a little thicker screws. You want to make sure your drill bit is the same size as your screws roughly, because if you try to screw things into the Plexi, you're going to end up cracking it. So don't do that. Just drill. I put the Plexi, I had the Plexi cut down to size. I literally set it on there and then just drilled right into the holes from the old base, or the old front. So it's pretty straightforward, and then you just screw it in. Pretty simple. And that's really it, guys. When it's put back together, it looks great. Can rock out. Get the tubes glowing. I think I've spent about 3 or 4 hours on this project, but hopefully with some of the tips in this video, It'll save you guys a little bit of time.